had a little baby boy, so I'm super ecstatic. The first conversation I had with this guy, I said, there's nothing free. We're going to get you working, even if you got to be a Nerd Alert model. You will put on a t-shirt and do something around here. So we're super ecstatic, and I'm happy to be here. You all know I love to talk about technology. And speaking of the cloud, man, I'm so happy that we're doing this topic because it's one of my favorite topics to discuss, in a sense that it's such an important aspect of our life that you really don't kind of know how all of this stuff works. So we're going to make the connection. When you go to Target, when you go to Walmart, you go to Publix or Kroger's or Jewel, any shopping store, there's some type of the cloud is connected in some type of way. So I'm hoping that you all will leave here with a better understanding of this cloud that lives up there somewhere, somehow, and certainly ask questions. In addition to that, the last tech class that we had, I got a bunch of questions that I'll owe some people answers to, and I promise you today, right after the class, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to send that email over to Nicole and Ashley so that they'll be able to send it out. If I have your email, I will send it to you directly if you put it in a chat from the last class, and I'll copy them on it. If not, I'm just going to send it right over to them. So bear with me. This is going to be a lot of fun. Let me get my screen ready for you all so we could actually show you this slide that I put together. Very simple. And we're going to, here we go. Perfect. And here, let me share this. All right, so you're going to see my screen and just let me know if you're able to see that. It says, What is the cloud? Cool. So usually we get this question a lot. As you all know who've been to the class, previous classes, I told you we do a lot of workshops in person with the Katy communities down here in Florida. And in some type of way, we're always talking about the cloud and backing up. When do I back up? If they're talking about they lost information, it's like, how do I get it? I just heard a young lady on here saying that she just switched over from Android and went to the iPhone, and she was waiting for her pictures to come over, and everything kind of came over. This stuff is always connected to the cloud. So the cloud is not a, this actual something that's in the air that's floating and that's raining on us and giving us our information. It's to act like that. So it's basically a collection of servers that are somewhere in the world in a very propitious place to allow us to get access to the information. So if we think about the cloud or these servers as like buildings somewhere, they're huge. They actually are really, really big buildings. And then they're highways that allow the traffic to run to and fro. Okay. So when it comes down to these servers, and a server is equivalent to what you have in your computer. It's a hard drive. What you have in your cell phone, what you have in your tablet, they're just bigger. So there, we have, we're talking a picture, the size of a picture when you send it is in megabytes, right? Your computer storage is in gigabytes. Your cell phone and things like that, it's in gigabytes, which is 1,000 megabytes. When you get to these next levels, you're starting to talk about terabytes, which is 1,000 gigabytes, and petabytes. So Facebook, Google, Apple, Target, any type of company, they have some type of, even if they don't own them themselves, they're using some type of cloud storage. Medical records, if they're saved somewhere, they're sitting somewhere in the cloud on a server where they can actually access it. And it may be physically in Switzerland, but they can touch it right now. All right. So the benefits, what are the benefits? This is the old school rack. I used to collect DVDs like crazy and VHSs, and we still actually have them. I don't want to let it go. I kind of like it. I grew up with it. I remember, putting in a little VHS tape in a VCR. It slowly goes in there, then it goes down, then it starts to play. And hopefully, you use the tape a lot, because if it gets unraveled, you know what you have to do to get it back so you don't lose it. And then we upgraded to the DVDs, and I have a lot of DVDs stored. I like it, but after a while, it starts to really physically take up space. And so you have the CDs in the same sense. I remember back in 2005 or six, I was an avid customer of Blockbuster, and I was in there all the time. I was definitely paying someone's salary and the light bill there. That's how much I was in Blockbuster. And I remember going in there, and I asked the gentleman, I said, hey, I was out of town, I was traveling, I'm late. I'm in here all the time. We're basically cousins. Can you waive that fee for me? He's like, no, I can't. And I'm like, all right, well, cancel my membership. That's it. So I joined Netflix. This is when Netflix was still in the DVD business, where they were actually just sending out those DVDs and you get it. So they were acting as the cloud, the storage center. And when you wanted that DVD on demand, you say, hey, I want to watch The Terminator. You put it in the, go online, you request it, that information comes to you. Now we have it instantaneous, and we're going to get into the whole streaming. So imagine all of these DVDs in the world, all of the CDs in the world, they are at one location or multiple locations, and there's a copy of it in each place. So when Frida, when Gene and Mike, Nicole and Rose and myself and Ashley and everybody else on this call, when they want to watch the movie, let's say we don't know each other, we all just want to watch, Mission Impossible, and we all put it on our TV, we can all watch that movie at the same time. It streams for all of us, and it comes instantaneous based on your internet connection. So if you have a bad internet connection, you're going to probably have a bad experience while watching that movie. It will, what we would say, sometimes it will buffer. You'll see like the little signal saying 6%, 7%, 8%, and then it buffers. So I'm going to break it down, the technology, how, and I think it was in 2001, 2002, it was a dude from MIT who came up with this really cool technology and allowed people to, there's a company called Akamai, and they have these content delivery networks. It's equivalent to a server. It's just a really fancy name, but it has a mechanism, and they call them a CDN, where they just slowly give you bits of the movie. Because if they give you 4 gigabytes of the movie at once, your computer just can't take it. Your cell phone can't take it. Your iPad can't take it, or your tablet. So they just stream it to you little by little so that you can get this part, and then this part, and then this part. And it's just a smooth transition that you have no idea how they're feeding your device this information. So how does it work? It's basically all of these these clouds or these storage centers all over the world, these CDN, content delivery networks that are everywhere. So when I watch a YouTube video and I want to watch a bunch of dogs run around and do funny stuff, and Frida wants to watch that, and she's over in Alaska, who cares? If we both have a really good connection, we'll be able to watch that same exact video with no problems again, because we're going off a download speed. We are downloading something from the cloud. That's why your download speed is very important. And it's usually higher than your upload speed. Emphasis on the word usually, because if you have fiber, which is an even faster connection, they usually try to level it out, where if you're getting 100 down, you're getting 100 up in some cases. But in most cases, I have Xfinity or Comcast, your download speed is going to be a lot higher than your upload speed, because you're downloading this content and you may upload some things, and I will talk about that. So let's look at this slide here. As I said, you have, if you notice the internet right here, and that little globe, if you will, that's like the cloud. So the internet itself, it's connected to those servers so that they can connect. And then when anyone demands what they have on those servers, and we all have a key, that key is not free. Hence the reason why you pay for Netflix. You pay for, you know, some cloud storage. Icloud will give you some for free. Google will give you some stuff for free, things of that nature. But the key is to basically have an account. That's your username and your password. Netflix, Hulu, and those streaming services, yeah, you'll get a month free, but to maintain that key, there you have to pay for it. So you have this VPN or CDN server, and then your ISP, that means your internet service provider. Now, don't worry about remembering all of this. I just want you to understand how it comes from here into you. So the internet is a thing that's kind of hovering over, and it's like, you know, connected to those servers. Those servers are going to surf the waves of your internet service provider, which is Comcast, Verizon, and bring that content to your computer, your TV, your cell phone, your streaming device, like an Apple TV. It's like a little box like this, not an actual TV. You have the Amazon Fire Stick. You have the Google. You have these little devices that you need in order, in most cases, I would say, unless you have a smart TV, to give you the VIP pass so that you can now stream. So if your TV was, I don't want to call it dumb, but if it's, let's say, not so smart, if your TV doesn't have the smart technology, and most TVs are all coming with the smart technology, if you have one of those older TVs, you can take one of these third-party devices and hook it up to your TV. And then now you'll be able to connect that device to the internet. And then that will allow you to stream Netflix, it'll allow you to stream music and things of that nature. And then it shows you on your big screen TV. Okay, does that make sense? So I have a smart TV, and I've had this question being asked to me a bunch of times. Julius, if you have a smart TV, do you need an Apple TV or an Amazon Fire Stick, or the Google? And there are other devices, the Roku as well. That's a very popular one. There are more, but those are the 4 popular. And they asked me, do you need it? Need is a very strong word. It depends on if you actually, so if you want to stream and your TV is smart, it depends on how you actually access these other services. Now, me particularly, I like the Apple platform to stream better because it does so much more with my Apple products. In addition to that, I like the user experience because it's easy to navigate. It's just very simple. I also like the Amazon Fire Stick platform. They make an easy platform for you to be able to navigate. The Roku as well, and the Google. So all of those, I like them, but I chose option 1, the Apple. But my TV is smart. I just don't use that smart feature. If you have it built in, it can save you money because you already have it. You can already stream. Or nowadays, Xfinity and all these other companies are giving you boxes that will allow you to do the same thing that these other devices would do. So you can use your Xfinity, your Comcast equipment to connect to these streaming services as well, if you have the most updated equipment. So basically, just to wrap this up, we have the internet, our servers that have all of those DVDs. They just load them in there, create a digital copy, and 1 million people can watch it at once. And they can, start it at different times. You can pause that movie, walk away, come back, and it'll be there. But it's all pushing to your devices because that's our window into this digital world. Now that the DVDs and the CDs are not physical, you need this window, such as a TV, a tablet, a smartphone, to actually look into this world and watch that movie or listen to that service. Popular cloud services, storage. So as we talk about like the streaming stuff, let's just put that aside. We understand the concept now. It's on these servers and that's it. Now, when it comes to cloud services and backing up, this is very important. This has became, is really popular because the advent of smartphones allowed us to do so much more. But this physical device is only a window into this digital world where you cannot see Facebook unless you have a window, a computer, a phone, or a tablet, or something like that, right? So you turn on that window, if you will, you look in there, and now you can see Facebook. In addition to that, now we have assets such as photos, we have documents, we have information, we have email. Email is all on the server. So if you're using Google, for instance, in order to access your Google, I don't care if you're using Outlook or Mac Mail or just looking at your iPhone or your Android, it lives in the Google Cloud. And in order to see it, you have to look it through that window. And then it pushes right to you so you'll be able to see it. So in this case, now we're talking about storage and backing up. As you all know, I have an iPhone and I use iCloud as I would call the glue to kind of keep my little digital world together. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing for a second to give you an idea. And I'm going to show you my other screen. This guy right here. Okay, Safari. Boom. All right, can you all see this? It says, good morning, Julius. All right, so this is my iCloud. iCloud has morphed into this really, really cool thing over the years. I started with iCloud when it was called just Mobile Me, and they had a lot of stuff then, and they have a lot of stuff now. So with iCloud, I get an email address. I have my personal email address is mrjmcgee@me.com. Now, I want you to forget that email address. Don't bombard me with emails. But I wanted to share that with you because we're all friends. So some people may have iCloud, but may not have the email. It's a very great possibility that you could have signed up for iCloud without having the email. One of the other things is contacts. So with the contacts, what happens is with all my devices, remember I said it's the glue, iCloud's the glue. All I do is I sign into my iPhone, my Mac, my iPad with the same credentials. Remember, that's the key to connecting to the cloud. And now that I'm signed in on all three devices, I am syncing my contacts. This is one of the things I'm syncing. So what does that mean? Let's say, for instance, this is the internet right now. I'm on iCloud.com. I can look into my computer and I have a contacts app that lives locally on my computer. Okay, so let's say two scenarios. One scenario, I leave all my devices at home. And when I leave all of my devices at home, I go to Eileen's house, I'm traveling, we're hanging out. I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to call Rose right now, but I don't know her number. We all forget numbers. I got to call Rose. Hey, Eileen, can I use your computer really quick? Oh yeah, Julius, no problem. I get on her computer. I log in with my credentials, username, which is an email address, and my password. I then get in. I can look at all my contacts and say, oh, you know what? That's her number right there. I got it. And then I can use her phone and I can make that phone call. So the cloud, when I have it on the devices, imagine the iPad, the computer, and the tablet, the cell phone. When I put it into one device, what happens is this. I put it in my iPhone. It then shoots directly up to the cloud. The cloud says, no problem, you may enter. It stores it. And then as soon as it stores it, it says, I need to mimic what's on this device and what I have here, and I'm going to put it on the other two devices. So it goes up and disperses to everything else. All right. And then let's say on my other device, I say, you know what? I actually got the phone number for Rose. I'm going to completely delete this contact from my iPad now. I delete it on my iPad. It deletes, it goes, it tells the cloud, hey, we just deleted this thing. The cloud says, no problem, we got this. And it deletes it on all the other devices. So wherever I add or subtract, it makes sure everything is in sync. That's how the cloud works. And so the other option is, I'm at the grocery store, I see Nicole, and I'm like, hey, Nicole, how's it going? Oh, you moved? I need to get your updated information, or I never had your phone number. I add her phone number into my phone. As soon as I go back home, we know how it works now. It's gonna be on my computer, it's gonna be on my tablet, it's gonna be in the cloud. I add it in one place and it'll be everywhere else. So the same idea when it comes down to calendar dates, right? So the same thing here, calendar dates, I'm able to add it in one place, it goes to the cloud, and it goes everywhere else. And then I can share these different things. So now I could say, hey, I can share my calendar with my wife and we can have the same calendar because it's in the cloud, and the cloud says, okay, if you give me authorization, I can also even share this stuff with your friends and family if you want me to. And there's certain things to do that. So in this case, if you notice these little share icons, they're like little triangles or Wi-Fi signals that lets you know that these calendars, in my case, are being shared. Now, that's not the same icon for like Google and all the other ones, but this is the iCloud, but the same idea. So my calendars can be shared, but they'll be in sync everywhere. So I delete that doctor's appointment here, it'll be deleted on that other device. Photos. So this is a really popular question. My photos are in the cloud, and as I, go through, I can go through all my different media types. I can go through all of these different things here. I could see all of my photos. This is my real phone here. So I can see everything in here, and they all stay in one place. So I know that if I lose this phone here, and I lose my iPad, my computer goes down, I'm backed up. So I can go to the cloud and I can store those things back into in my new device. So when I get a new computer, I'm like, no problem. Let me bring everything down from the cloud. I get a new phone, I'm able to bring everything back from the cloud if I lose my device. So I always ensure that whenever I work with someone, if they don't want to do it, I just have to let them know. I say, hey, you should back up. And what a backup is, I am backing up redundantly, which means that I'm backing up in multiple places. So my iCloud photo is being backed up just by itself. In addition to that, my cell phone, my iPhone, is being backed up as a carbon copy. So I can either get my photos back or I can get my whole phone back. Someone takes this phone. I have had phones, I'm that guy, I used to be that guy. I leave my window down thinking the world is perfect. I go into the gas station, come back out, my phone's gone. I'm like, all right, don't worry about it. We got this. Let me just go and erase that iPhone because I'm connected to the cloud. I can log into my iCloud.com, completely wipe my phone clean so that those guys can't get my phone. And in addition to that, if they ever try to use it, they will never be able to use it. It's just going to be a brick. They can't get in. They can't do anything. The only other person that will be able to get into that phone is you, because you have the credentials. Even if one would take that phone to an iPhone store, it's highly unlikely that you will be able to get into that phone. Even if it's actually yours, you would have to prove with some documents that it's yours, and they're the only people that will be able to unlock that phone. And I've only seen that happen a couple of times in 10 years where someone passed away and they had to prove all of this stuff, or a manager made a high executive decision that there was their phone, right? But if I lose this phone, I don't fret. Someone can get it. First, they got to get through my code. And if they get through my code, then I'll be able to lock it, but they can't get in there. They could ever use it. I also have my iCloud Drive. In my iCloud Drive, I have what Apple added just a few years ago, where it's backing up my desktop, my documents, and my downloads. And then all of these. This is like PowerPoint, Excel, and Word. This is Apple's equivalent. So I'm also backing up these things in a very different way. So my iCloud Drive, it comes in handy. When I have, this is a very important feature of the iCloud, which I love, because this is what I used when I lost those phones. Now, the first time I did it, someone went into my car, went into the gas station, left the window down, they took my phone, wiped it clean. The second time, I was out and I was at a restaurant and I left it on like a ledge, and within minutes, it was already gone. Someone took it. So I asked at the restaurant, this was really cool. I asked a complete stranger who had an iPhone, and I explained to him that, hey, at that time, I said, the only way I could do this, I said, hey, I know you have an iPhone, man. It sounds crazy, but you know what the iCloud is? He's like, yeah, I know what the iCloud is. I'm like, someone just stole my phone. Can I use your phone to log into my iCloud, and then I'll be able to wipe my phone clean? And he understood it. Some people may not. They're like, no, like absolutely not. But some people will, and you would be able to get into it. You sign in, and the most important part is you have to remember your credentials. And in most cases, this is your Apple ID. If you have Google or another cloud backing service, it will be called something else. Verizon has a cloud, Google has a cloud. Everything is backing up, but the most important is to remember your email address and a password. So in this case, I think this is it. And I tell you all that you have to remember, and I can't even remember if I remember. So here's the way it works. So now I just lost one of my devices. I don't know where it's at. It's probably in the house. If you notice right here in Chicago, I see a little dot. Now I'm not in Chicago. My mom's in Chicago. I keep my mom's devices on here because this lady always loses her devices, and I'm able to track her as well. So I'm like, hey, I thought you said you weren't shopping. I'm not. I'm like, Ma, I know exactly where you are right now. She's like, really? And I had to prove it to her one day. And she's like, how do you know? And I said, I'm watching you. So anyway, I'm able to track her devices. So if she loses it, she has it on vibrate, I can ring that guy from here. If I click on it, it tells you, hey, this is her information. I can look at that phone. I can hone in. I can get a little bit more information about it and see exactly where she is. So she's in Schaumburg, Illinois right now, about 30 minutes outside of Chicago. Here, if I wanted to, I can scare her and play a loud sound, but I'm not going to do that. I can also put her phone in lost mode. So if my mom lost her phone, she knows that I can even put it in lost mode for her. And what that means is we'll put a code on there, and anybody who finds it, no one will be able to use that phone other than calling 911. That's the only thing that you can do on a phone that has been reported to the cloud as lost. If she lost it and she doesn't think she's going to get it back, we can wipe that phone. And what that means is we could erase it, and as soon as it connects to the internet or a cell tower, it'll start to erase. So that's how we know that we're good. We also get to see her battery life here as well. So you know how much juice she has in her phone. It's like, hey, I know it's around the house. I know it's here. All right, well, here, it's not going to tell us exactly where it is in the house, but it'll give us an idea. Now, when I go here to the very top, I'm able to see all of these other devices. So I'm able to see old devices that I haven't wiped out. And these are ones that I haven't used. This is my MacBook Pro. This is the computer I'm on right now. Here's another iPhone, and I can see my wife's information, all of her phone, AirPods, everything. So if I'm looking at one of these guys, now I get to see this iPhone, home iPhone, and let's see here. And I can keep on going. You see? and you can kind of get close. So if you lose this at the coffee shop or whatever, you'll be able to play a loud sound even if it's on vibrate. That's one of the best features that I love about the iCloud, if you have Apple devices. In addition to that, let's dive into the account settings. And I just want to show you this. I just went to a gentleman's house recently. He said, "Hey, Julius, my iPad is not charging anymore. I got to get a new guy." And the guy at Best Buy said that we can't transfer the information. It's a no-go. And I said, "Well, I can't remember every device I work on, but I know that there are certain things that I always do, and I always check to make sure people are backing up somehow, some way, and I ask. Even if they didn't call us over for that, I just kind of check." And so I said, if I went over there, and I know I saw you a couple of times in the last year, I'm pretty sure you were backing up. So I feel pretty confident that we can get a lot of your information back. So when I went over there, one, I was able to actually get his information from, we got the iPad on, but I found a backup. And we could see all the different devices. It tells you what's backing up and what's not. You can always down here restore files, restore contacts, restore calendars and reminders, and restore bookmarks. These things are sort of being backed up without you knowing. In addition to that, you have a history of backups if you are backing up in your cloud, and it tells you like the last time you backed up, and so you can restore it. So I like going in here. I know how much storage I have in my cloud. This is not the storage I have on my device, but this is the storage that I have in my cloud. So we pay for a 2 terabyte cloud storage, and it's a family plan. So my mom, my wife, and myself, we're all on there. So you see how much room we have to grow. We're not even using that much. We have 1.69 terabytes left. That is a lot of storage, a lot. So with the way we're growing, this is going to work for us for the next, 5 or 6 years. And then I think we'll still be good at that point. So everything is being backed up there. And if we ever needed to, you can't just look into the cloud. It's just you need a device to sync the information to. If that makes sense. So this is one cloud. We also have Dropbox. So I get this question a lot. This is not just about backing up, but this is also about sending large files. So for instance, let's say you get a video, you take a video of the dog playing in the backyard, one of the grandkids playing around, and you want to send it to all your friends. Why would you need Dropbox? Dropbox is one of those cloud storage centers, and it's just a hard drive where you can automatically back up your photos to it. You can also, sometimes I'll use Dropbox if I have to send a big file that you can't email and you can't text, and you shouldn't even try to do it. So anything over like 20, I would say 15 megabytes, even though it'll go through, I usually put it in Dropbox because it takes so long to kind of go out and to send. And it's almost like taking something really heavy and throwing it. I don't want to throw a 20-pound dumbbell. I really don't even want to throw a 5-pound dumbbell, but I could. But if it's a 50-pound dumbbell, oh, forget it. FedEx, can you please come and take this over to Frida for me? I'm not going to try to throw this over there. That's what you would do. So a big file is something that you will want to place in the Dropbox, place in one of these folders. And if you notice here, let me just zoom in. If you notice here, I got like 2 little dudes on there, on the blogs, on the ESET, on the Nerd Alert. That means that I'm sharing that folder. So I essentially, this is what I'm doing. Imagine this in the real world. I said, hey, I have this box of files that I want you to see. I place it in my garage, and I said, I'm not taking it to you. You come and get it whenever you want it. I give you the code to get into my garage, and then when I I send you that code, you're able to go and access my garage whenever you want and go and take those files yourself. But I'm not delivering it to you. I'm giving you access to it, and you can come as you please. Okay? Until I stop sharing that code, because you can have that code and I can change it tomorrow. But it's the same thing with the Dropbox. If I want to send a large file, I would have to have Dropbox either on my computer, or if you notice at the top right here, it says upload. I upload that file from my device, computer, iPad, tablet or smartphone, upload it to the cloud. It's in that cloud. And then I say, okay, I want 100 people to have access to these photos. And I give people access, meaning I would share a link. You click on that link and you would then be able to see it. So for example, with December Zooms here, if you notice that I am here and when I hover over it, it gives me this option to copy the link. So if I copy this link, I'll copy it, it copies somewhere, and I can say copy link, or I can triple click and I can highlight this and copy it. I'll just say copy link. Now it tells me my link is copied. Now, if I paste this in the Zoom chat, because I've already uploaded, it is living in my Dropbox. I'm on Dropbox.com. You all can click on that link and see exactly what's in that folder. And you will all have access. And you say, oh my God, this is a bunch of pictures, or it's this, or it's a movie. And you can then just view it there. You can download it. You can do a lot of different things with that file. But because I control it, I won't give you all license to delete that file. I could, but most people wouldn't. So this is another cloud storage. And then you have Google Drive. You have so many more services. Google Drive, OneDrive on your PC. There's Box. There's so many, but they all work the same. Now, let me share with you, because then we're going to open up for Q&A. I'm going to go over a couple more things. We have fun stuff, movies. So basically, as you're seeing this, I just want to talk about, I had the question asked to me recently where they said, hey, we have Netflix. Should we have something else? And I said, well, it's, to each his own. I'll tell you what I do in my personal life, but it's what you want to watch. So these are all, again, streaming services. We're still talking about the cloud, not really backing up, but knowing things are living up there. Remember, all of these movies with these services, they're living in the cloud. When you pay the price, you get access. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet or all-you-can-watch buffet. And some people have been morphed into couch potatoes because of Netflix. And it happens. It's very, very alluring. I can tell you, they have great shows, great movies. Some people will just watch seasons in a day, and they would call it binge watching, right? We've all heard that term. So some people are like, oh man, I don't even want to hear about a new show. I literally don't talk about it because I may be interested and I may want to binge watch it, because now, back in the day, and they still have it, where you have a TV show, it comes on, it has commercials, and every commercial you're like, all right, let me go to the bathroom or whatever, or the next show will come out the following week. Not anymore. You can have the whole season. So when Game of Thrones, when The Sopranos, all of that stuff, Sopranos at that time, back in the day, you couldn't just binge watch it. But now any show that Netflix put out, Prime, you can get the whole season. Or if I tell you about a show like, hey, have you watched this show? You're like, no. Oh, dude, it's been on for 5 years. Really? So you mean I have 5 seasons of shows? You can literally just disappear from the world and just watch 100 episodes of something. I know a lot of people who actually do it and loves doing it. Me, honestly, it's one of my weaknesses. So I had to take a step back, and I maybe watch a movie, believe it or not, maybe once or twice a month, because I'm like, this is so like, it just grasps your attention. We started watching Blacklist, and I'm like, oh my God, I love Raymond Reddington. It's a great show. And you could just get sucked in and sucked in. You're like, all right, you know what? I'm not watching any more shows. The next thing you know, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning and you got to go to work the next day. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to put this aside. No mas. That's it. So Netflix, the cool thing about these shows, I mean, these outlets here, two things. One, I haven't been paying for cable TV since I want to say 2012, 2013. I cut the cable. That's what they call it. Meaning that the only service that I pay Comcast for is not TV, it's just for the internet. Why? Because I get to choose what I want to watch instead of them telling me what to watch. What that means is we have a Netflix account. We have a Disney Plus account, a Hulu account. Now, let me be very clear with this. So we have a Netflix account. My wife's sister has a Disney Plus account that she gives us access to. We, in turn, give her access to our Netflix. And then her brother has a Hulu account who gives us access, and we give him access to this. So we're all sharing and streaming our services and credentials with each other. And we have Prime Video with our Prime membership. We don't have the YouTube TV. And the Apple TV, I think we have a free subscription for like a year, but we never really watch it. But in this house, our TV rarely goes on. Again, we'll do a movie night here and there. But the cool thing about it is people ask, why should I have all of it? Well, it's all up to you. You could still get live TV. You could pay Hulu for that. You could still get all the shows and movies, and some of these outlets will have the same movies, some different. When we go on the TV, we're like, hey, we like watching 80s movies or 90s movies. We're like, hey, let's watch Look Who's Talking, or let's watch, a movie, the Die Hard series. And sometimes Netflix will have it, and it comes with our membership. Sometimes Prime Video will have it. Sometimes neither will have it, and we have to rent it and pay a fee for $3.99 or whatever, or we buy the movie. So you have all these options, but the great thing about it is you could say, hey, you know what? I joined HBO Max because I want to watch this show. They put all the episodes out for this season. So I'm going to sign up for $10.99, binge watch it, or watch it over the next month, and then I'll cancel my membership and I'll do it again whenever I want. So you have that option. That's the cool thing. Where you have to turn it, you can turn it off or turn it on. So choose wisely. There were a lot of people last year when Hamilton came on Disney Plus. We got inundated with phone calls, and we're like, what is going on? And they're like, man, we need Disney Plus. We need Disney Plus. So we're setting up Disney Plus for a lot of people because they wanted to watch Hamilton, the play. They watched Hamilton and then they canceled it afterwards. Some people kept Disney Plus. That's the great thing about having one of these stations, that you're not, hooked into a contract or anything like that. So with these streaming services, depend upon what you watch, you can kind of see what movies, and they're changing them out all the time. So you can make that executive decision. Same thing with the music. I like the music services. The cool thing about the music is that you can have the free services. So Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, Tidal, not a lot of people know about, but it is a service. And Apple Music are the most popular. And YouTube is really popular as well, but I would say Pandora, Apple Music, Spotify, and Amazon Music works. If you have like an Alexa and you say, play this song, they'll probably say, hey, you get so many songs with your Prime membership, but if you want to hear everything, 75 million songs, pay $7.99 a month. Apple Music is, I forgot the price, maybe it's like $9.99 a month. Spotify, depending upon your membership, it could be from $9.99 a month unless you get a discount, or $14.99, and you get to hear all this music. So again, it's like an all you can eat or all you can hear, all you can watch type of buffet. and you can cancel whatever you want. So instead of owning CDs, you're just basically, you're leasing them. And I wouldn't even say leasing. You get to hear it. You can listen to it a bunch of times, as much as you want, but you're going to pay a fee to become a member and to continue to listen to it. When you stop, you can still listen. And I know Spotify and Pandora, you're just going to get some commercials. They have to pay the bill some way. So they will say, yeah, you can listen all day, but you're going to hear some commercials, and some people don't want to hear commercials. So these are the popular music streaming services. You have the popular movie services, and you can always stream. Not when it comes to cutting the cord, it's not for everyone. So if you like just hitting those buttons and going about it the traditional way, that's completely fine. Should you want to move to a place and you don't watch a lot of TV, but you do watch a lot of movies, you can consider just cutting the cord and just having these streaming services and or paying for TV. You can always read the news, Google the news and things like that, because that's the reason why most people keep it, or sports. They like to really stay connected with the sports. Or you can have a combination of both and see if you are using one or the other more, and then kind of figure it out, okay? So I just spewed out a lot of information, and I know that there's a lot of questions. So I'm gonna stop it here, and I'm gonna open it up for Q&A so we can get to those questions. And I hope I did not explode your brains with all the information. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to allow you all to answer questions.
So there's definitely a lot of information and a lot of questions. So basically starts off really with Barbara asking, do you need special equipment for streaming on TV?
Yes, Barbara, yes and no. If you have a smart TV and it already has those features, a lot of TVs now, they're coming with Netflix, the app, you know, already. They're coming with the Prime Video. They're coming with even the Apple TV. Apple is very kind of like, nope, this is ours. If you want our stuff, you would have to come onto our platform, but they're now offering that app on these smart TVs as well. It just depends on which one you have. Or you can get, you know, these, the Amazon, the Fire Stick or the box itself. If you don't have a smart TV, you can make your TV smart with one of those devices.
Okay. And Frida was asking if you'd need the internet and an app to stream.
Yes, Frida. So when it comes down to no matter what, in order to stream, you will need the internet because that's going to allow you to download that so that you can watch it. And once you have the internet and in a good internet connection, the companies nowadays have gotten so good at providing you with these services at a low bandwidth, so they can still deliver a high quality movie, even if your bandwidth is kind of low. Now you will get some stops and maybe some buffering, but their technology is getting better to be able to serve that to you, even if you have, like, you know, a slow internet. In addition to that, the internet services are understanding how many people are on the internet, those ISPs, and they're trying to essentially increase their services. So, you know, that's why you're hearing 5G, you're hearing fiber, you're hearing about all of those services, because we're going to where we are going. We are, you know, security cameras, alarm systems, everything's connected to the internet. So you're going to need it for everything. But yes, absolutely.
Okay. And Marna asked, what is VPN?
VPN is a virtual private network. What a virtual private network is and what it does, it serves a few purposes. The most popular would be, it kind of changes your network. So every time you get on the internet, you have a digital footprint, and you can't really hide that digital footprint unless you're like a really skilled hacker. But usually you go through, you know, when we connect to the internet, we connect via our ISP, via Comcast. When you're connecting with their box, you have like an identity with them. So if anything happened, they'll say, hey, he did it, and we know it came from this house. Not only that, it came from this computer. With a VPN, when you go to certain websites, they're looking for certain IP address ranges. So when you have that IP address 192, I'm giving you a router, 192.168.1.1, that's a standard IP address for a router. Now, we also have an IP address, but let's say, for instance, someone asks, hey, I want to watch this. There's this novela in Spain that I want to watch. And I can't watch it unless I am in Spain and I'm here. Is there a way? I said, oh, you could use a VPN. You can mask your IP address and make it seem like you're in Spain with an IP address. So sign up for a VPN, get I don't have mine turned on, get an IP address in Spain and see if you can watch it there. She tried it, it worked. Another way VPN comes in handy is that it protects your IP address and it offers you another layer of security while you're on the internet. So it's kind of hiding you, almost like if I were to walk outside and I had two bodyguards kind of shuffling me in the car like they do like the president. And they're like, hey, Julius, get in here, get in here. No autographs, people. And they put me into this little, this Tahoe, and it's all blacked out and you can't see who's in there. And they're basically protecting me while I'm on the road. So that VPN can do that, just that for your devices, if you were to need that, and to be able to work it. Sometimes you can go on certain things and they can notice that you have a VPN and it won't work at all. Or sometimes it can cause complications if you're having problem like connecting to a printer or something like that. It's like, yeah, you're in Spain, so you can't print right now. And that's not the case all the time, but just know that should you get one, just be aware that it may, and not always, just depending upon how you use it, can cause some issues.
Okay. And Connie asked, can the Amazon Fire Stick, is it interchangeable?
Interchangeable in a sense, Connie, like, could you take it out and put it into another TV? Or like, I'm just looking for you here. Hey, Connie.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Yes, interchangeable in terms of if I have a TV and doesn't say it can take a Amazon Fire Stick, can it take it anyway?
Well, so let's say the way the Fire Stick works, it just has like any of these devices, it's just the device in it. You have a way where it connects to the internet. On that Fire Stick, for instance, the other side, it has like a HDMI port, right? So you're basically just pushing this guy on the HDMI port. And so let's say you have two HDMI ports on that TV. You would just go to the input or the source, go to HDMI 1, HDMI 2, whichever one you put it in, and it's gonna display, or it should display what's in there. Once you get there, then you put the regular control down, you pick up the Amazon Fire Stick control, and then you're like going through the setup, connecting to the internet, and then now that is your ticket into this digital world so that you can see all of this stuff. Now, I've had people ask, when you say interchangeable, you can even take that. Let's say you have a TV in the bedroom and then you have the TV in the living room. You're like, I want to buy two Amazon Fire Sticks. I rarely watch it in the living room, but now I have family over and we want to watch it there. You could take that joker out, put it in the living room, plug it in, change to that source, and you're able to, just start watching everything there because it's already set up for you.
Oh, okay. So just to piggyback off what you said, thank you. What's a HDMI? Because that is something I'm learning.
Oh, no, it's a great question. I'm glad you asked. An HDMI, I don't have the cord here, but it's
I have it right here. I bought it, but I don't know
okay,
what to do with it.
Okay, keep holding that up. So everyone, if you don't know what an HDMI is, so it's a cord, and she has a 4-foot. I usually recommend, depending upon how close your devices are, 6 feet, 4 to 6 feet, if they're really close. If not, you can go 12, you can get a really long one. What it does is, there's one port all of our TVs have, if they're especially newer, they should have an HDMI port. It's the female. So this male, you essentially take that and you plug it into one side into the TV. The other side can go into an Apple TV. It can go into a computer. It can go into any of these streaming devices because they all have the other port on the side, and it basically just bridges the gap between the two, so you would then be able to see it. So it streams, or it's video and audio through that HDMI. It knows to carry both of those through that cord to the TV, so that whatever displaying on this little Amazon Fire Stick that's so foreign to your TV, it doesn't matter, because when you go from TV to the source of HDMI 1, HDMI 2, HDMI 3, it then displays that, gives you the picture, gives you the sound.
Oh,
Yes.
great. Oh,
Yes.
gotcha. I like how you said bridge. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and Marcia had asked, is it necessary to get a private VPN, like one that comes with Firefox, to be secure?
There is the one that I actually have. I have one on my computer. It's called Nord, Nord. And it's not to say that it's better than the other ones. There are a lot of VPNs out there. I'm just going to share this with you. So when you go to popular VPNs, let's just pull up this one. I've never been to this site. Here we have Expressvpn. This is the guy that I have, NordVPN, and they've been around for a while. I just got one and I like to play around with it, but look, as soon as I go there, it tells me my IP address. It tells me that I'm on Comcast cable, and it tells me I'm unprotected. Reason why is I don't have my VPN on right now. So you have all of these different things here: streaming, privacy, speed, devices. So it can help. I turned it off because there's some sites that I visit and it'll kind of make things a little quirky. So I turn it off and I turn it on depending upon what I'm doing on the internet. But I'm pretty safe here. So you can get a VPN through those. I like Nord. I like how easy it is to use, and you can actually add it on all your devices with no problems. And you see this, it says I'm exposed. It just knows that I don't have a VPN on. But if I turn mine on, then that'll go away. Okay. Can you all still hear me? Yeah? Okay. The next question would be, what is Dropbox? That's from Barbara. Barbara, are you still there? Who asked that question? All right. I don't hear it, but I'll reiterate
she's there,
that.
but she's on unmuting, so we'll wait for her to unmute.
All right, so yeah, Dropbox again that's the cloud storage, and I think she may have asked that. Yeah, she asked it around 10:18, and I went over it after that. But just to reiterate, Dropbox, you can get a free account with Dropbox. I believe they're still giving out 2 gigabytes, and that's a lot of space for someone that's not using it all the time. So you can sign up for it, and I say it's easy to use if you kind of follow the directions. I've been using it for like the last decade, and it's just mainly I use it to share files when I can't email them or text them, and it's mostly for work. On a personal level, if you are trying to share a bunch of photos, share a bunch of long videos of something, I usually recommend using a cloud service such as Google Drive or Dropbox, because I think they're the 2 easiest and the most popular to use. Unless you have like iCloud, there's ways that you can share those items as well. But you could store them there, upload it to Dropbox, or if you have Dropbox downloaded to your device, you can store it in the Dropbox and then send out a link to where you stored it, and then they can go and get it whenever they want. And it can stay there for as long as you want it, so that they'll have access to those files, documents. Sometimes people have asked, hey, you know what, I got to send my taxes over to this, or I have to do this, and the files are really big. And I'm like, all right, well, we're going to put it in Dropbox, and if your accountant knows how to use it, we're just going to send them a link. They'll be able to download those on their own, and all you're doing is emailing a simple link that they can click on and go and get everything that they want. So that's Dropbox in a nutshell.
And then, yeah, there's a few questions about iPhone sharing with Windows. I know Tony and Connie asked about, well, Tony asked what iPhone sharing with Windows, same cloud. And then Connie asked, can iPhone share with Windows?
You know, Windows and Apple, they're not the best friends. They don't hate each other. But what I've found is that I feel that Apple's a little bit more open to the conversation of playing very well with Microsoft, but Microsoft, it's not to say that they're not open to it, just there's some complexities that happens. I've been dealing with iCloud for a very long time, and I think I have a great understanding of how it works and to kind of troubleshoot it. But we do get a lot of issues when you're meshing or merging information from iCloud specifically to Windows, contacts, calendars, things of that nature, and photo sharing and things like that. It certainly can work, but I know that there is an issue with iCloud and Outlook specifically. Sometimes you can get everything to work, and then it'll work for a given amount of time, and then one day it'll stop working. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and you can never blame either one. You call up Apple, they'll say, hey, everything looks great on our side. You call up Windows, dude, everything looks great. I don't know what your problem is. It's some missing component that happens. I have seen where it comes down to photos and things like that. With iCloud and Windows, it does work, and there is an app where you can get iCloud on your Windows machine. Just over the years, it has never been perfect. I usually tell people, if the cloud is that important, not to just upgrade to an Apple computer, but it's more like if you're really trying to get all of these features that's working great on your iPad and your iPhone, you have the Windows, and you only keep Windows because you think that you can't work on a Mac. I usually just say, hey, the next computer you get, maybe you want to upgrade to a Mac, because I've used the analogy a lot. Windows is stick shift, Apple is automatic. And although it may seem different, it's just Apple simplifies things very, very well. Stick shift doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means you could do a lot of stuff. And sometimes when people are shifting gears, they break the clutch. They don't know what they're doing. They're trying to go too fast on the Autobahn. Apple, they will shift the gears for you, and it's like a no-brainer. So when it comes down to it, yes, it will work with Windows, but sometimes if it's not perfect, it can be complicated sometimes. Yes.
Okay. Rose had a few questions here. How hard of credentials do you suggest to have?
When it comes down to credentials, I'll share a couple of passwords with you all that I have. Obviously the username is going to be, in some cases, it'll be, just a username. Like, if you sign into Instagram, you can sign in with your handle, right? At Nerd Alert, and then your password. I make my passwords pretty simple, and I say simple that I like to do things that make sense for me. So like one of my passwords, it's a go-to for certain things. I have like a criteria. I have financial stuff like credit card, banks. I have, my email. I have, the cloud services. I have all of those things, and I'll use like yellow 0420. I will use Jayla 0316. That's my niece's name. And I capitalize certain things. I also have some that are just a little bit more complex. I pick cities that I like in the world, and I'll have like Barcelona, and I'll have like 0597. So those numbers, that's my nephew's birthday. And then I have the city that I like. So that whenever I'm going into something, I'm always able to find those passwords, or remember like, hey, you know what, this is a bank, so, or financial. I normally use typically this type of password for that, the color, not the name of someone, and then I'll try that. Or I'll say, oh, you know what, this is Cloud Storage. I definitely use the city. So if it's not Barcelona, it may be this city. And I'll try those different cities with a combination of numbers. And then the capitalization and the special characters. In addition to that, I have pretty much two-step verification on all of my accounts. So that even if I have the right password and I'm logging in the first time on a new device, it will prompt me for a second step of verification that they will text me and or email me that I will have to put in. And it's a temporary code that I will have to put in so that I will then be able to gain access. Because the first key works, which is your password, and then they send you a second step. While I'm on passwords, I'll just say that I save my passwords in my, let me just share this with you all. On my Apple devices, I use the iCloud Keychain, okay? So in here, in Safari, that's the browser I use the most. When I go up here, actually, let me just share my whole screen so you can see everything that I'm doing. And you all may not have this, but it's the concept that matters. Let's see, I'm gonna share my whole desktop. And if you see here, when I go into Safari, I go into my preferences here. And in preferences, I have my passwords. In order to see these passwords, I either have to give my fingertip or put in a password, the main password for my computer. So here we go. I just put my fingertip on there. Now, Google and Apple are doing this all day long, and we get this question. This is why I want to bring it up while I'm here. Notice that my Google, Apple, Bank of America, compromised, reused. Like all of these passwords are compromised, easily guessed, right? It's every single password. So people are like, hey man, I got this notification. What should I do? And I'm like, yeah, you can spend the time and you can go through every single one of those, but it may take you some time, a lot of time. I don't fret because they're always going to ask you to change your password and say your password's not that strong. So for instance, here's my Hilton.com password. I just clicked on it. You can see it here. This is my username. That's one of my passwords. Remember, yellow 0420. So I can always, if I forget a password, I could just say, you know, I'm on Rose's computer. I can say, oh man, I can log in. I can see my passwords. It tells me that I've used this password. It appeared in a data link. It's always going to appear in a data link. And it tells me on 114 more sites I'm using this password. So I can change it, and I can change it on their website. I like using simple passwords, but again, if I give you guys all of my passwords to anything that really makes sense, you still can't get in because you're going to need my cell phone to get in as the second step of verification. In order for you to kind of really get rid of the compromise and reuse, you'll have to use one of those long, crazy special characters that they suggest for you. And it's like just 16 digits, number signs, dollar signs, uppercase, lowercase, underscores, all of that stuff that I know you won't remember, but it'll have to be saved in a keychain like this and for you to put it in. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't like doing that, but you all can. It's not a bad thing at all. I think it's great if you want to do it. I just prefer to remember my passwords and be able to access them. So yeah, you can make them really complicated, or you can make them simple but still complicated, and just add some special characters in their rows.
How did you get to Safari, the preference in Safari? How did you get there?
Yeah, so basically what you would do is you would go to your, once you're in Safari, as you see me here, you click on Safari next to the Apple, and then you see preferences here. And then once you're in preferences, you have this menu bar, these icons, you click on passwords. And in order for you to see them, you would need the password to your computer that you use to log in. It's the admin password. Once you put that in, then you'll be able to get access to these passwords.
Okay.
Do you recommend using one of those apps that keeps your passwords?
Yeah, because this one right here is called the Apple iCloud Keychain. It is free to any Apple users. So that's what I use. And it's equivalent to one of those LastPass, Dashlane, things like that. This has just always been integrated into their ecosystem, and they've upgraded it so now it's cloud-based and you can be able to access it everywhere. But they've always had the keychain. So those, I like them. There's, LastPass, Dashlane, 1Password, and so many more. If you all are able to use it, you just basically create one master password that will essentially get you into your other passwords and to, populate those when you need them. Yes.
Okay. And if you wipe your lost phone clean, how do you have info left to download to a new phone?
So if you wipe it, what happens? So two things. When you're backing up your phone, remember, it's pushing up to the cloud, making a carbon copy up there, and it lives there. And every day that you back up, it goes through the backups, and it's like, well, we're not going to spend our time on everything. It's like almost like I come into the house and I just look at this office. And I'm like, okay, there's a picture there, a picture there, a picture there, and two computers. And I'm looking at it every day. Now, after a while, I'm going to just notice that I know those pictures are there, but one day a cup of coffee goes on the desk. And I'm like, well, that's different. Let me take a snapshot of that. And I take a snapshot. And then there's a plate of food there. And I take a snapshot. So I'm using those, and I can see that on 12/14, there was a cup of coffee there. 12/15, there was a plate of food there with the cup of coffee. And then 12/16, the coffee left, the food is still there. So I see the different variations of the phone, right? That's backed up. Now you lose that phone. You say, hey, I don't want, this guy getting my phone and getting my information. So I'm gonna wipe that device. That does not mean you wipe out the cloud. It gets, the cloud view of it gets taken out of there. It stays in the cloud. It knows that it's been wiped off. But then when you go and get a new phone, you didn't just sign in with your credentials. And once you sign in with your credentials, it says, hey, the last time we backed up, it was 12/16 at this time. You had a cup of coffee and a plate of food there. Do you want to restore it? Absolutely. You hit restore, everything comes back from the cloud, and now you have that same phone that you had the day before you wiped it, or the day of that you wiped it, last time you backed up.
Okay. And how can you track your phone?
So tracking your phone, Connie, it depends on what you're using. If you're using iCloud, you use that service to be able to track your phone. You just log into iCloud.com and or going onto someone else's phone who has like the Find My app. On my computer, I have it. If you're using like a Verizon, glue to keep everything together, or Google as your glue, as your cloud to keep everything together, there's a way to find your phone. So it's all different with different cloud-based services that you're using to back up. So whichever one you have, I would kind of, let's say you have the Verizon backup, there's a way that you can locate your phone, and you can either, go into one of those stores like a Verizon store and just have them kind of show you the app and make sure that you're tracking your phone and backing up on your phone. And then you'll be able to log into whatever site that is to find that phone. But iCloud.com, for anybody who has Apple devices, you'll be able to track those devices if you have it turned on. And by default, if you sign into your iCloud with your Apple ID, it will suggest that you back up, and also give authorization for them to not track your phone, but to monitor your phone's whereabouts, so that should you want to find it, you'll be able to locate it.
Okay, and a super important question, if anybody like Sharon, shows others out there, how do you back up to the iCloud, to the cloud from your phone?
Sure. So basically what you would do is, let me share this guy. Okay, let me share my phone. One second, let me try. There we go. AirPlay. On this guy. Trust. This is, I'm going to show you this iPad. Oops. Okay, so now you get to see the iPad here. So it's the same as the iPhone. Once you go onto here, at the very top, I have the latest iOS, and if you're like on, iOS 12 and above, it should still be at the top. Once you tap on that here, you have the iCloud. I showed you the online version, but when I tap on iCloud, you'll see my photos are being backed up. iCloud backup is on. When I tap on iCloud backup, I can see that the last successful backup was at 9:13 a.m. So, but above that, if you see iCloud backup, how does it back up? Automatically back up your apps and data to the iCloud when this iPad is connected to power, locked, and on Wi-Fi. Those three things need to be happening. So I need to just lock it, which is I'll put it to sleep. It's connected to power and Wi-Fi. Now that's to automatically do it. When it sees those three things, they're all in conjunction, it'll just automatically back up your device. Or I could just go and hit backup now and manually do it. And it'll tell me, hey, I'm backing up, estimated time to back up. So if you're signed into your iCloud, you're gonna see your storage, you're gonna see all of these things. Now, all of these things that are green here, it just tells you that all of these things are syncing for me and backing up to the cloud. So I have pretty much everything on. And even my keychain, remember that keychain with all those passwords I just showed you in Safari? I'm able to see those same passwords here. You see that? These are all my passwords. So anytime, and I'm that guy too, don't worry about it. Like, you're not the only ones that forget passwords. I forget them too. I'm like, if it's something I haven't logged into in a long time, I'm like, man, what is that password to Setmore, SEO Moz, or the server? I can go there and I can actually tap on one of these, and I'm able to. Now, the cool thing about Apple, like right now I'm sharing my screen with you all, it knows that I'm sharing my screen with you all, but on my screen, I get to see my password. What you all see is just blank there because they're protecting me, even though they know I'm sharing this via Zoom. So all you see is my username and not the password, but I am looking right at my password underneath my username. So that's how you would essentially back up.
Okay. And then what's the difference between upload versus download?
Great question. So uploading is so right now with Zoom, great example is I am sitting here, I'm giving this workshop. Every time I speak, every time I move, whatever I am doing, the camera is on me, my voice is coming out. I am uploading all of this to you all. It is pushing out via my upload. You then, in turn, so that we can communicate, now you're downloading it so that you can see me. So you're downloading me, I am downloading you. And when you're watching Netflix, we're downloading that movie, you're not uploading. You're basically just downloading the whole time. You're listening to music, you're downloading if you're streaming. If you're driving in a car and you're listening to music, and let's say you're listening to some Lionel Richie or something like that, you press it, you're downloading. When you go to Michael Jackson, by pressing it, you're uploading your request and you're telling them to change the station. I want some Michael Jackson now. And then it uploads that selection and then you're gonna hear that song and you're gonna download it. So every time you're always uploading and downloading. I send you a text, you're downloading that text, downloading the picture, you get it. And then when you send it, you're uploading. Same thing with email. You're sending out, you're uploading it to the cloud, it goes down, and then you download it.
Okay, and with smart TVs, Positive Pat's asking, share that they can spy into your house with a smart TV. Is this true?
Yes, and it's not. You're on point, Pat. It's so with any device, okay, with your iPad, your iPhone, your Alexa, your Siri, your Google, any type of listening device or any TV, anything, it is, I say spy, but I don't want to, I'm just going to put that word right to the side and then we're going to bring it back, but it's going to be right over there. All right. It is, what's a nicer way of saying, actively listening so that they can give you a better experience. So one of my wife's best friends she was over here, like it was a few months ago when we got a puppy, and she's a little, not so little, but she's a Doberman, so she's a little bit bigger than little, but she's little. So we're talking about this little puppy and we're like, oh my God, yeah, Pepper's awesome, blah, 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 Dobermans, yada, yada, yada. They're great with kids and all of this stuff. And we're just having a conversation in my living room. So after that, Val, she goes home the next day and she told my wife, she said, it's so crazy. Now I am getting all of these videos in my Instagram feed and on YouTube of Dobermans. I never looked up Dobermans in my life. She's like, this is so crazy. And so I laughed and I'm like, yeah, it's because not just the TV, Pat, but you got to go a little bit further. It's the applications, it's everything. And she did not look up anything on her phone. We showed her one video on my Apple TV via my YouTube of Dobermans, and she's still getting Doberman, not ads, but videos and things in her feed. So you have these, if you can say, and I won't say it because I have a Siri here. If you say HEY, Siri, she'll say, what can I do for you, right? So if she can listen for that, she's just listening. Sometimes I can say something and I promise you, I didn't even say an S word. And she's like, what's going on? I'm like, I did not even call on you. Like, go back into your digital room, get out of here, right? So they're listening. Amazon is listening. Your devices, your apps, they're listening to try to give you a better experience. So you can cut those things off when it comes down to your camera. or when it comes down to your TV, it can hear. And that is data that these companies want, because it's not like they're spying specifically on you, Positive Pat, or me, like, oh, Julius is a cool dude, we got to see what this guy's doing, you know, he's got a new Doberman, we need to know everything's happening in his life. It's just more like that data is being sent to them in this type of packet that creates this profile on you so that they can better market to you and give you what you want. And sometimes they're saying, you don't know what you want. We know what you want. That's what they told my friend Val. Like, hey, maybe you do like Dobermans. You were talking about them for a great deal yesterday. So here's some in your feed, and let us know when you get that dog. That's just the way it is. And it's hard to not be, unless you go live in, you know, the forest or something like that. It's hard not to be around it, because even if you go back to a brick phone, maybe someone in your family is going to have a smartphone, but it's hard not to be recorded.
Okay, so I know that there's definitely like 2 or 3 more questions, and then I see a couple hands up. And
Yes.
Eileen had this question about a warning on her laptop for Microsoft Windows. Is your computer is low on memory? To restore enough memory for programs to work correctly, save your files, and then close and restart all programs. Does that mean that I have used up all my free iCloud space?
Oh, great question, Eileen. If that message is like, you know, almost verbatim to what you're hearing, I would say that is not anything to do with iCloud space. That's going to be more with your memory. In your computer, you have memory and you have hard drive storage space. People usually confuse memory with storage. That is not the case. Memory just allows your computer, like right now, I have about 6 or 7 programs open. I was showing you that slideshow. I have my text, I have my email, I have Google Chrome, Safari, settings, Zoom, and I'm doing something with Zoom. Memory is allowing me to multitask and use all of these programs without any lag, okay? So memory allows my computer to do a bunch of different things. The space, the storage space, allows me to store things. So if you don't have enough memory for programs to work correctly, let's say I only have 6 programs open. Let's say I had 20 programs open and working on them, listening to music, watching a movie, doing all of these different things. My computer too would tell me I'm using too much memory. That's like having a person look at 10 people and they say, remember my name and my age. Cool, no problem. I got 10, got all of you. 100 people come in the room. I got you all. 1,000 people, 10,000 people. So the person who's trying to remember all of the people and their names, it gets hard for me to just remember everything. So I'm like, your name starts with an E. I know that. Give me a second. And your computer's like, hang on, you got this program open. Give me a second. I'm going to show you what's on there. I promise you, just wait. And things start to go slow. So they're saying to maybe restart it. And you want to, sometimes you may have to upgrade your memory if you're able to get more memory in that computer so that programs can work correctly. But that is not with the iCloud. Okay.
So what if
definitely
you
have somebody take a look at it? Yes, I'm sorry, Nicole.
What if your TV is 10 to 12 years old? Can you make it a smart TV?
Certainly. If your TV has the ports on it, an HDMI port, you could, and it's working correctly, you should be able to make that a smart TV by plugging in one of those devices and making it smart. I had a TV like that years ago because I thought buying smart TVs when they first came out was a waste of money. I didn't like the way they connected to the internet for me. So when we still had a choice, I bought a TV that didn't have the smart component, and I just brought my Apple TV to it and made it smart. And I used that to connect to these streaming services.
Okay, and Marion, I see you've been patiently, you had your hand up, so go ahead.
Yes, I had a question. I would like to know, is Hbo Max, is that just the streaming network? on the MacBook?
It is on I would say all the platforms, most of all the platforms. You can get it on Apple TV, you can get it on your computer. HBO Max is like, I have HBO Max. It comes free because I have AT&T. They give me this streaming service for free. So, we know that HBO comes on cable. If you have a set-top box, you can watch it, go to the channel. If you're paying for that channel, the premium channel, you can watch HBO. Then there was HBO Go, and then you have HBO Max. HBO Max is sort of like its own entity. It's for people who are saying they don't have cable, and HBO Max, like Netflix, they have a lot of movies that we know of that come straight through Hollywood, but they're also creating their own movies as well, like Netflix, Amazon, Apple TV. They're also producing their own movies. So you can subscribe to HBO Max and watch it on your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, or have the app on your smart TV and or one of the streaming devices such as an Apple TV, the little box, the Amazon Fire Stick or something like that. So it just gives you access to be able to watch all the shows that they're providing.
All right, well, I subscribe to the HBO Max
Yes.
on the MacBook, but I can't watch any movies. That's why I'm wondering if it's just mainly streaming.
It is
you're not
streaming.
able
You would have to
watch.
be, you have to be, if you're connected to the internet, if you go to hbomax.com, you'll be able to, watch all of those shows, such as like right now, let me show you HBO Max. So when I go to HBO Max, if you could see here, if I try to watch one of these shows, sometimes they'll let you get a preview, but I have to sign in. So I can either sign up now, if you don't have it, and you get to choose which plan you want, or I can sign in if I already have credentials. So if I go direct to the source, I can create an account and pay them $14.99 a month. Now, like I told you all, AT&T, my cell phone service, they provide me with this as it's free, even though I know somehow, some way I'm paying for it. But I have credentials. So I have to go on here and not sign in. I sign in with a provider. So when I go and sign in with a provider, I go into HBO Max, and then they're able to allow me to sign in with this provider. And let's see here. I think this is my info. Actually, yeah, I have to sign in with this provider. So I have to go AT&T first. And then they push me to AT&T. So it's like, hey, if you want to watch this, go talk to AT&T. AT&T will talk to us. You can't talk to us directly because they're paying for your subscription. I click on this guy. Notice, remember, I have all my passwords saved, so it auto-populates. I just put my fingerprint in here. Boom. Now AT&T says, go back to HBO Max and enjoy your show. So now I'm back in HBO Max. Who's watching? I click on that. Now I'm able to watch whatever I want to watch here.
But the question I have is, I was able to get into the movie and even to the episodes, but they're not playing. I'm getting a message, like an error message.
So if you're getting an error message, I would just check your internet connection, because if it's not allowing you to watch it once you signed in, just how I just signed in, I can click on any one of those movies. My download speed is pretty solid here, and I'm able to watch whatever I can watch, the whole buffet, whatever they give me. So I would, maybe check your internet connection and see exactly, what the problem is.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome, Mary.
Okay, and Helen.
Yes, hi, Julius. Your definition of a large file, was it 50 megabytes or 50 kilobytes?
Great question. I definitely 50 megabytes. So kilobytes that's light work, very, very light. That's like a piece of paper. 50 megabytes would be equivalent in my scenario. I would say it's the weight of a phone. So I wouldn't send this through the mail. I would package it up really nice. So 50 megabytes is a lot to send via email as well as via text. It probably will go out at some point, but it's just gonna go slowly trying to push that up. Because remember, my upload speed, let me just show you here, speedtest.net. So you guys see this here. When I hit go, my download speed is really good, and it's always going to be stronger. And this is all megabytes per second. So I am at almost 400 download speed. And so everything, if I want to download something, I want to download a movie, my whole movie should not buffer with a speed like this. Even if you have, I would say, if you have 20 megabytes down, you should still be solid for the most part if your internet connection, your Wi-Fi router is solid. But look at this, 40 megabytes per second, that's still really fast. I wouldn't try to send a file that big. I would put it in Dropbox and then share the link to it. I usually send anything under, I try to stay under 20. And usually I even size it down to under 10. I was trying to send documents that was like 10 megabytes yesterday, and a certain spot would not go through. I sized it down to about 2, went right through 2 megabytes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Julius, how are you with, I see there's 4 or 5. I see Jean, you're waving your hand, but we have other hands. It's 11:38. Let you tell me, because I know.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's get these questions answered.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I do see you, Jean. I will definitely get to you. John, if you want to unmute. Go ahead.
Jules, you've made the statement that you've been using Dropbox for 10 years and you don't pay for it. I remember 10 years ago when I looked at Dropbox, I figured this has got to be a scam. In general, how do these cloud services give you that much facility and how do they make money, period?
Oh, there are a lot of people paying for it. So you actually just using their services for free. Other people are not really paying your way. It doesn't work that way. It's just a lot of people, a lot of companies use Dropbox as storage, and it's usually it's not cheap. It's about $150 a year if you get their plan, and it goes all the way up. So a lot of companies are using cloud storage such as this to store, just petabytes of information. So they're able to give you that 2 gigabytes is like small potatoes for them. So they're able to give you that space. And Dropbox, that was one of their big marketing, I would say, yeah, it allowed them to grow because they gave out free space. So they're like, hey, come and get some free space, store something. But if you're storing something, a lot of stuff, you're gonna hit that 2 gigabytes. And they're like, yeah, we're just trying to reel you in if you're gonna use it. But if you're not really using it, most people aren't, they're allocating that space into someone else. And then when you start to use it, it shifts around so everyone can kind of share that space.
It's like free advertising, so to speak.
It's 100%, yes.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, and Martha, go ahead.
Yes, on the Dropbox link, how do you create that? It looks complicated, or does it do it for you?
It does it for you. Okay. I have Dropbox on my computer, and I could show you what it looks like in the cloud. So on my computer, if you could see my screen here, here's my Dropbox. These are those same files that we saw on Dropbox.com. Remember the little guys on Dropbox? It was 2 guys. On my Mac, I have 3 guys. So if I wanted to, because these green check marks indicates that these files are syncing, I'll show you here. If I were to take this and drop this over in a Dropbox, it tells me that I'm going to leave my iCloud Drive. And you see that little blue guy? It's starting to
Yes.
sneak up to the cloud, then it turns green. It says it's up there. You can do whatever you want. So now
Okay.
if I right click this guy, because it's on my computer, I can scroll all the way down. I can either copy this Dropbox link. I can share it in a different way. I usually copy the link, open up my email, paste the link, send it out. That's one way of doing it. Or if like these files here, I share these with certain people, I give them full access, that garage code, so they can go into those files whenever. Or anytime I say, hey, I got some files for you, they're like, just add it to the garage. I'll come and pick it up whenever I need it, instead of checking an email. So I can go into one of these here. This is one we share with a client. We have all of these pictures. They're all syncing. Anytime he adds photos here, we automatically get it. So that's how I'm able to share this folder with him, and he's able to add stuff to it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, James, you're up. Go ahead. If you just want to unmute.
Did you say Jean? Me?
No, James.
Okay. I'm in the mountains. I have horrible internet service. They're getting broadband.
Okay.
Is broadband better, or do you know any tricks for getting better internet service?
So being up there, I mean, the when it comes down to broadband is pretty much what I have. That's what Xfinity is working on in my area. Xfinity also has fiber services in different areas, like in Boca Raton. I know one club just went all fiber with Xfinity. I can't wait to get it because it'll speed things up. What'd you say, Nicole?
No, I didn't. It was so.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then with broadband, like, it doesn't mean that it's always fast. You would have to, what I usually would do in your case is kind of check the source. Using a Ethernet cord from the modem to your computer, if you have a computer that can get connected to the Ethernet, or have the gentleman from the company run a test, and it'll tell you that's going to be the best possible connection that you have. Now, let's say you're getting 20 megabytes down, maybe 5 up, or whatever. Then in order to get that around your whole house, now you're going to need a really strong Wi-Fi router to throw that signal all throughout your house so it stays at 20. So if you're getting a good connection at the source, now you need the Wi-Fi router that pushes around. Like, I live in a very old house. It's all, and the walls are very thick. So I had to get a router that could take my internet from the source and push it upstairs, downstairs, in the backyard, and everywhere. And so I keep that 400 down, like you saw, and it's very strong. That's what you would have to do.
And do you have the name of a router that's really strong?
I do. The one that I like, and I would say look into it. It's not for every house. Okay. But I like Netgear, the company in general, when it comes down to routers. Just with my experience, I've worked with Linksys and TP-Link and all of them. I just like Netgear because of the simple setup. I use the Orbi, ORBI, and it's Wi-Fi 6. It really does a great job at bulldozing through walls, in a sense that it pushes it through. Like, it's like throwing a humongous elephant throughout my house, and he's just bouncing all over the place, and I'm able to connect. And I've used the Orbi as even though it depends on which one you get. I got mine, it was around $300 on sale at Best Buy, and it's 2 devices, and it does a great job in spreading out the connection. There are some that are lower than that, and it just depends on the square footage and plaster walls, brick walls, whatever you have. But this one right here, it's like an Orbi 4200. it does exactly what I need. If I would have got the one that costs a little bit more, it would have been overkill. I would have never been able to feel the benefits of it because I don't need it.
But you can't damage anything if you've overkilled.
No, you
Just
can't.
that you're wasting your money.
Yeah, you'll just, get something that's a little bit, it'll send your signal, like your neighbors down the street will be able to see your connection, not that they can connect, but the bigger network you get, you'll be able to see it even further. The Orbi that I have, I
What
can
I
get in
need.
my backyard, my front yard, everything can stay connected with no problems.
That might be part of the problem.
Could be.
Thank
Check
you.
your download speeds and see if that's it. If you're getting a great connection at the source, upgrade the Wi-Fi and you should be golden.
Thank you. Appreciate the help.
You're welcome, Dave.
Okay, James sort of dropped out, but Sharon, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, a couple of questions. Text messages, do they automatically go to the cloud? And what happens when you erase them?
It depends. So the way Apple has it, for instance, my text messages, I have it syncing throughout my devices. So if I get text on one device, it goes to my computer and my iPad. That's one way. If I delete on one, it deletes everywhere. Now, in addition to that, remember, I am backing up my phone as it is, a carbon copy of it to the cloud. So if I lose this phone and I have all of those text messages, when I get a new phone, I'll be able to download it right to the carbon copy of that phone with all the text messages back there. So that actually works in that sense. But usually when you delete a text, sometimes depending upon how you have it, you might lose it forever and you can't get it back.
Okay.
Because if it's syncing, it's syncing. It's supposed to delete here and delete everywhere else.
So if you wanted like more space, and would deleting the messages help?
I wouldn't say deleting the messages or the conversations. I would say delete the things that are taking up most of the space, which would usually be files such as images or videos. So you can delete those items from your phone if you're running out of space. Android allows you to kind of buy more storage, but with a little SD card. Apple, you have to buy a new phone. That's it. There's no other way around it. Or dump the stuff that you have there. They're like, hey, you should have made that decision the right way when you first got the phone, but now you're kind of stuck with it and you'll have to buy a brand new phone. So they're making, like, the iPhone 13s now start at 128 gigabytes. It's a lot of space. And they go up to like a terabyte now. It's ridiculous for a phone. So you have more than enough space.
And if I want to get my photos from my phone and put them on my iPad, how do you do that?
I would say the easiest, if you have your iPhone and you have all those photos there, if you're signed into iCloud, I would use iCloud Photos, turn that on, and then it should sync over. It should put it up in the cloud, and then when you turn it onto the iPad, then those photos should then come down from the cloud and live there as well. So you have them in both places.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, Barbara, go ahead.
Okay, first I want to thank you for this experience because I'm so technology challenged and I'm enjoying every bit of it. I don't know how much of it I would remember, but at least I'm exposed to it and I'm trying to learn. Now, recently my son encouraged me to get an iPhone. I had a smartphone before and now I have an iPhone, which is driving me nuts. I'm still trying to understand it. However, some of the programs, at least 2 important programs I had on the smartphone did not transfer over to the iPhone. And I want to know, how can I get that done? So I have 2 questions. That's one. And you answered part of it with the last person. I thought the phone, T-Mobile is my carrier, and I think they said I have unlimited storage or something. I can't remember, but I'm getting a message that's coming up. iCloud is almost filled. So I have those two questions.
Got it. Yeah, no, and you're very welcome, Barbara. I'm glad you were able to join. I think it's really important for you all to understand this stuff. It's a lot of information. I hope you retain at least the foundation. So with your questions as it relates to getting the programs from the smartphone over to the Apple phone, and the reason why they probably did not transfer is that programs and apps, that term itself, that's synonymous. They're the same. You know, on a Windows computer, they call them programs. On the Mac computer, they call them apps. They're applications at the end of the day, or programs. So in the Apple ecosystem, when you go and download an app, for instance, on my Mac computer, it's not the same app that I would download on my iPhone, even though it may be Dropbox. They're not the same. They're going to be made for that particular device. Let's say, for instance, you had the Zoom application on your Android phone, right? And then you want to transfer that Zoom application on your iPhone. You cannot transfer that particular application and move it to the iPhone, because the iPhone is going to stiff arm it and say, we don't operate in that language. But if you want to get Zoom here, no, don't worry. Just go to our app store and download the app from our app store, the Zoom app store, and you can get Zoom on your iPhone with no problems. That applies to most of any popular application. They always make an app for the Android. Any company, they'll make an app for the Mac, for the Windows, for the iPhone, for the iPad. They are separate entities that are made for those particular devices. So whatever app you're trying to get over, don't worry about moving it over. Just go to the iPhone and go and re-download the app that's made for the iPhone.
Well, one of the app I paid for, iRepro, I paid for it. So do I have to pay for a new?
It depends. So sometimes with those apps, if you bought it in the Google Play Store, sometimes you buy a subscription to the app. So you can download the app for free, but then you pay them to utilize the app. And then if you paid them to utilize the app, you can go and download the free version of that app if it's set up that way, and then just log in with your credentials that you already paid for. Now, sometimes there are apps that will require you to just pay for it out the gate, just to even get it on your phone. So if you've done that over there and it's one of those types of apps, you may have to pay for it again on your iPhone if it's one of those types. So it's either you bought the subscription or you bought the app. And then the other part of your question, I'm so sorry, forgive me. What was the other part? The second question?
Yeah, T-Mobile told me I have unlimited data. I think that's what they said. However, I get a message showing up that my iCloud is almost filled.
Okay, so two different things. So, and it's good that you're bringing it up. The terminology is very important here. Yes. Data is kind of like your internet. How we've been talking about Wi-Fi. T-Mobile and most other companies, they're giving everyone unlimited data. They're like, hey, you can get on the internet all you want. Now, if you're doing a lot of downloading and uploading, they will throttle your speeds and slow you down a little bit because you're pushing and pulling on their bandwidth and you're using a lot. But you're paying for unlimited data, and that's able to get an internet connection. So when you're talking about the iCloud storage, Apple provides everyone with 5 gigabytes of free storage. That's to back up and to store things up there. If you are running out of space, cloud space, you can upgrade that. One of the options is like 99 cents per month, and then they'll give you 50 gigabytes And then you can upgrade it. You could do like $2.99 and get like 2 terabytes. So you just want to upgrade your storage with iCloud, and I would recommend it so that you can back up your phone without having to worry about your information. And then it'll just kind of back up to the cloud. And depending upon how much storage you're using, that's how much space you would buy.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hey, last question, rounding this out. Wow. Doris, go ahead.
Hi, Julius.
Hey, Doris.
I forgot the password to my Wi-Fi. How
Okay.
can I get it back?
It's not an easy task, but it's also not hard. Do you have who are you using for your service? Like
Sutton Link.
Okay, so I've never heard of that company, but I know there are so many different internet service providers out there. Usually, do you have a Mac or a PC?
PC.
Okay, so one of the things you can do now, your PC is connected to the internet, right?
Correct.
So one of the things that you could do is you can go into, you'll go to your control panel. So you have to search for the control panel. Once you get to the control panel, it's going to be like you'll choose network and sharing services. Give me 1 second. Network and internet, or network and sharing center. From that standpoint, you can choose, it should show your connection at the very top that you're connected to it. And you have to click on that, show the preferences, and then there's a way to reveal the password in there. If you know someone that's kind of techie, I'm trying to see here. Okay, here you go. This, let me see, reveal. 1 second. Let's see if I can get you a step-by-step. Okay, let me check out this one here. Okay, here we go. Let me share my screen, and then I'll send you this link. This here. Okay, we have it here. So basically what you would do, this is the easy way of doing it. There's other ways as well. But if you have Windows 10, you can go to network and internet. And then once you go there, you would click on network and sharing center. If you go to the control panel, you would just choose network and sharing center. But this is another way. You go into your settings, network and internet, network and sharing center. You click on that Wi-Fi that you're connected to. It will then pop up with this screen. Then you click on wireless properties. And then it'll land you on connection, but you click on security. And then you could actually then show the character. You click on this little checkbox to show the characters. Once you do that, then you'll be able to see your password to your Wi-Fi. Let me just do this here. I'm going to send this over to you. I literally just sent this over to Nicole and Ashley, and they can always forward that over to you as well.
Thank you.
All right, you're very welcome.
All right. Well, there was one last question that came up, and it was, what if you're interested in music that's on vinyl records but not on CDs? That came in from Rose.
If you want to listen to it or like convert them.
Let's see, is she there? She was just here and I think she just exited the call. She was coming in and out. She just came in and out. She was having a Wi-Fi issue, I think. But anyway, she's not on the call right now, Rose. So that was her question. So I don't know what she wanted to do with them.
Okay, well, if like, I mean, vinyl, there are ways to like, they have technology out there that will convert VHS, cassette tapes, and those songs over. It's a specialty type of thing, and you would have to find a company to do it. I know VHS tapes. I was helping someone a year or two ago. We bought a VCR, and I think we got it for like $50, but everybody was charging like $200-300. And I'm like, dude, it's a VCR. But being that they're not selling them that much, they're costing a lot of money. And we were able to buy something to hook up to our computer to start converting those. With a vinyl, I'm sure they have something just like that where they can listen to it or something and then be able to convert it. I wanted to answer one other question I kind of started with Jen. And because I know it's a really popular question and it happens a lot with the Xfinity Wi-Fi, for those who ever see the Xfinity Wi-Fi and you connect to it, let me share my screen here. Let me close this out. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So basically, up here, my Wi-Fi here, this is my connection. I was being funny. So I called my connection FBI surveillance team so that my neighbors would think the van is out there just monitoring the block. And that's my Wi-Fi. I also have another one. So if you see my preferred networks, you see my phone here. This is the one I'm connected to because it's in blue. You see this little guy, Xfinity Wi-Fi? Some people connect to that by accident. Now, if you have Xfinity and you sign in, it's not a bad thing. The way it works is because I pay Xfinity for internet services, and the example I was giving Jen before is if my whole street, my whole block have Xfinity, or I go to another neighborhood and they have Xfinity, being that I'm already paying Xfinity a certain amount of money per month, they give me a username and password. And they set up my Xfinity box in there is a hotspot for anybody that's paying for the service. So if Susan was in my neighborhood and she needed to connect to the internet in her car because her cell reception was bad, or she wanted to just connect her Wi-Fi, or Susan's at a coffee shop and the coffee shop is using Xfinity services, their modem is set up as a hotspot. So she'll see Xfinity Wi-Fi and she can click on it. It'll then say, no problem, if you want to connect to this hotspot, give us your username and your password. You'll log in there, and what that will allow Susan to do is then connect to the internet and have a stronger connection. So if she clicks on that and does not log in with her credentials, her device will remember that connection. And being that it can't get out now, there's no internet with it because she didn't validate who she was, she's gonna have problems. And it happens a lot where they're like, for whatever reason, I can't get my email even when I'm at home, or I can't print anymore even when I'm at home. I was able to print yesterday. So if I were to connect to this right now, one, I'll lose you all right now because it's gonna switch over to it. But if I don't validate it, then I will never get out. I can't print. It has a different IP address and so forth. I use the Xfinity Wi-Fi because sometimes when I go to coffee shops, if their connection is low and it's not sufficient enough for what I'm doing, and I do have an Xfinity Wi-Fi in range, I'm good. and I'm able to ride that internet, that hotspot, and it connects me to our internet because it's just a network of everybody that's paying for Xfinity coming together, allowing this user who is out and not at home connect to the service. So if you are having problems and you, like Jen, what I would do on your iPhone when that happens is this. I would go, actually here, let me just show my iPad because I have it plugged up. I would go here. Here we go. I would go here, and let me just share my screen. There we go. I would go to settings, and this is for everyone that connected to Xfinity on accident. Go to settings, tap on Wi-Fi. You're gonna see Xfinity pop up probably soon. Let's see what pops up. All right, it doesn't pop up in this case. You just see both of my networks. But let's say, for example, where it says US Secret Service, Jen, that says Xfinity. I'm hoping it pops up. It doesn't. So let's say it's US Secret Service Xfinity Wi-Fi. You tap on the I, be careful to tap on the I. And when you get there, that's not a good example because I never joined. Even let's do FBI surveillance fan, the one that I've joined. If you tap on the I, it tells you to forget this network. You want to tap on forget this network so that anytime you're out, it doesn't connect and stop your internet connection. Because it's like literally holding you up and you can't get out and nothing probably can't get in because it'll ride your cellular and your internet. But I would forget this network and then delete it out of there and it won't do anything to your device. It'll just help you. And then that way you won't have any more problems when you connect there.